Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
What up? What's going on, guys? I want to welcome you back to another episode of the Account for Your Life podcast. This is Jay Moore, the healthy accountant, helping you to account for your life. How to be more prosperous in 2023. Guys, every year in January, well, actually, I probably have done this way more than just January, but I'm always reading the book of Proverbs. And the book of Proverbs is one of the most amazing success books you can find. And so today we're just going to look at a couple of a few verses within chapter 3 that I believe can help anybody be more prosperous in 2023. What is that? And we're going to jump right in that really, really quick. And I'm also going to share with you guys how you can have more success in your business. Yes, we're going to share with that. All right, so let's look at Proverbs chapter 3. I'm going to go and share my screen just so you can see it. Proverbs chapter 3, where we at? I think it's that guy right there. And we're going to start at verse number 13. Give me a second here, make that bigger here. All right, just want to get my thing. All right. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom and the man that getteth understanding. Guys, check this out. If you find wisdom, you get understanding. Chapter 4 is amazing as well. It talks about this, but wisdom is the principal thing, which is in chapter 4, verse 14. For the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold. I was going to say, man, you should exchange your money for this thing called wisdom. You should exchange whatever you got in the bank account, whatever you have that's valuable. Verse 15, she is more precious than rubies, and all the things that canst desire are not to be compared unto her. Length of days is in her right hand, and in her left riches and honor. That's where we're going to stop right there. In her hand is riches and honor. Who's looking? All right, let me stop sharing. Let me stop sharing here. I'm on the wrong spot. Who's looking to be prosperous in 2023? Who is like seriously, like 2023? It's a brand new year. We get to reset. We get to do something different. We get to change. Man, I'm gonna tell you, change is crazy, guys. I'm gonna be transparent with you today. Well, I'm always transparent. So let me tell you something. I went back to something. Like, I'm almost afraid to say this. I went back to something I should have did in 2019 yesterday. It's 2023, 4 years ago. Well, not quite 4 because it was in the summer. So about 3.5 years has passed since I should have did this thing that I didn't do. So let me ask you a question. What's the reason why we don't do something? And I had to ask myself this question yesterday. Why didn't I complete that thing? Went on and did many other tasks, but why didn't I do that one task? And it's a word called certainty. Uncertainty. Here's what happens in uncertainty. Imagine it's March of 2020. You remember that? And all of a sudden the world got shut down. And all of a sudden it was like everything became uncertain. Life became uncertain, money, everything, business, everything's uncertain. Uncertainty is what caused me not to do something in 2019, which I could have easily done in 2020. I could have done in 2021. I could have done in 2022. And it's 2023. But here's the thing. When you lack wisdom, what should you do? I'm going to jump over to one of my other favorite texts over in James, because James says it so beautifully as to what we should do. James chapter 1, and it starts in verse number 5. Let me exit here. I'm going to share that with you just so you can read it along with me. Not video. I want to share my screen. Let's read it together just so that you can see it the way I see it. Let's go. Here's what James has to say, verse number 5. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask God that giveth to all men liberally and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But this is where everything changes. But let him ask in faith, not wavering, for he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. For let not that man think that he should receive anything from the Lord. And lastly, verse number 8, a double-minded man is unstable in all his or her ways. When we ask for wisdom, the key is faith. The key is belief. The key is certainty of knowing. Come on now. If you are a kingdom citizen right now, if you are a kingdom entrepreneur, a kingdom person, we have no right to doubt anything that God has said. No right. You and I, we have no right. If God has already spoken the word over your life, which he's already spoken the word. And here's what's interesting, how God speaks the word over your life. He calls your name. He calls your name and says, hey, go do it. He says, hey, go do it. I've already equipped you. Remember, we talked about the circle. God doesn't see things in a straight line. He's seeing things in a circle because everything always comes back to where he is. And so he sees it because it's already been done. And here it is. Another year has come for prosperity. Another year has come. So if we've got a new year now, it's not going to be new at the end of the month. It's not going to be new, in March. It's not going to be new in June. How can you and how can I harness the power of new to blast off? Here's what I had to do. I had to do what Paul said to do. Forget the past, my man. He says, forget the past, press toward the mark. What is the mark? One of my mentors says he does not set goals. I actually love that because I said technically goals are kind of interesting, right? Because goals, if you don't reach them, you're like, oh, I didn't reach my goals. Now I set some goals. One of my mentors says, he doesn't set goals. And here's what he says. He says, look, I don't set goals, but here's what I do. I just find systems that I can use that somebody else did that works, and I just do them. And what happens is because I'm doing it, keyword, doing it. We were at Johnson & Wales University. We took our son, Jacob, who's, was going to culinary there over the weekend. And we were there for the tour, and we're going through the tour, and it's great. And we got to the end, and we were talking to the person that gave the tour, and she said something that was powerful. She says, because he's been accepted to the Culinary Institute of America up in New York, and that was like the first choice. And here it is now. He's looking at Johnson & Wales. She says the difference between the two schools that culinary, education is great. Culinary Institute has great education, but she says they do more. They do more at Johnson & Wales. See, they get a chance to actually do more of the thing. Imagine if you can do more of the thing that you were looking to do. Guys, if I go and read a book, the fastest way to be broke, is to read a book and not actually do anything that the book said. Anybody ever did that before? You read a book and you actually didn't do anything. You actually never implemented what the book said to implement. Has that ever happened to anybody? I've read a lot of books. Now, every book I may not necessarily be looking to get something specifically from it, But that hit me. I says, well, if there is a book, I got a book. I think I got about 3-4 books on my table right now that I'm siphoning off stuff. Guys, it's the doing. It's not the saying. It's the doing. It's not just the thinking. The thinking is needed, but the thinking forces us to do something. So, being prosperous in 2023, how does that happen? Get wisdom. In that chapter, in chapter 3, just going to go back to that briefly as we get ready to close here, because guys, look, at the end of the day, we got to get out. We have to get out here and do something. If we're not doing anything, let's not act like anything is going to happen. And I'm just going to go up to one of my favorite verses, and this is where we understand our relationship with God. It says, "Trust in the Lord," in verse number 5 of chapter 3 of Proverbs. "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and don't lean to your own understanding. And in all my ways, in all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths." And let's go back down to verse 13. Now, you know what? Let's go to verse 16. We're going to close it right here. "The length of days is in wisdom's right hand, and in her left hand are riches and honor." Length of days, wisdom, riches and honor. Prosperity in 2023. Here's one of the principal things that we have to do. Get wisdom. Ask for it. Lean towards God. Even in uncertainty, this is where I'm applying. I didn't know how to do something yesterday, guys. Something that I put off for 3.5 years. And you know what? I know how to do it today because I did it. And now I'm doing it. See, the doing is what builds certainty. You want to have certainty in your life? You want to have certainty in your business? Find something that makes you uncomfortable and do it today. Then tomorrow when you wake up, find that thing again, because you haven't mastered it yet. Find that thing again, do it again. Then the next day, find that thing again and do it again. Look, in 30 days, you would have done it every day for 30 days. I remember starting out, working out. I remember, starting out, running. I remember starting out, and in one day, it seems like you've mastered something because you did it so many times. Wisdom is the principal thing. Get it. But in her right hand are the length of days, and in her left hand are riches and honor. Guys, I hope this blessed you today, and I hope that you guys got something from this podcast. Why don't you go ahead, like, subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. And if you're watching on Facebook, be sure to comment and like. What's going on, Janone? What's going on, Lori? I see you guys commented today. Appreciate you guys. And I look forward to serving you all throughout 2023 so that you can be more prosperous, applying these wisdom truths to your life and to your business. God bless you, and I will see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.